Hello woodblock print enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome to another unboxing of woodblock prints I got through an auction house. It's always exciting to see what the prints look like in person, since the online photos never do the prints justice. It's so much nicer to actually hold a 150-year-old print in your hands. Some of these prints will end up in my permanent collection, but most will be for sale on our Cross-Eyed Gallery website. So let's open this up. It's really well packed. Now, let's see what we have in no particular order. And the first print we have is from my favorite artist, Hiroshige. This is Tsuchiyama from the 53 Stations of the Tokaido by Hiroshige, printed around 1840. Each print in this series has a short comic poem in Japanese called a kyoka. Hence, this series is known as the Kyoka Tokaido. You see these travelers going through the mountain pass. It's raining, but you can barely see it in this print. I have another copy of the same print where we see the rain more clearly. It's trimmed pretty tightly on the right and bottom, but overall a really great impression, good color, and not backed. Okay, let's see what we have here. This is a print from a series I'm collecting by Kunichika called Mirror of Demonic People, Good and Evil. It's a series of powerful images of mostly bandits and samurai. I love the composition of the figures in this series, their dynamic poses, and their simple but beautifully designed kimonos. I'm afraid I don't know who this person is, so I'll have to do some research on that. Next, we have a print from Kunichika's 36 Modern Restaurants, printed in 1878. The restaurant is Kuramaya at Shinmei-maya. In this print, we see two women who work in this restaurant unfolding a banner. In the background, there's a Chinese painting of one of the lucky gods of wisdom, and in the foreground, one of an owl. I like this series for many reasons, but besides the beauty of the prints, it also shows the cooperation between the restaurant business and publisher, because these prints were advertising for the restaurants. I could totally imagine the Japanese foodies in the 1870s collecting this series. Here's another restaurant print from a different series by Kunichika done in 1870. So this was printed 8 years before the print we just saw. The series is 36 famous restaurants in Tokyo, and the restaurant depicted here is Nakahashi Kogane. This series pairs famous geisha with famous restaurants. The square panel at the top left shows either specialty food or some aspect of the restaurant. The large yellow cartouche on the right shows the series title, name of the geisha, and the restaurant address. Look at this pretty blue billowing kimono. I really like this series. Next, we have a smaller sized print by Hiroshige II from his 1860 series Edo Meisho Yonju Hakkei, or 48 Famous Views of Edo. This print is called In Front of Kyoto Gion Shinmonzen. You can recognize this series by the fan-shaped cartouche at the top right. These simple landscape prints are very affordable, and I have quite a few on the gallery website. Okay, let's see what we have here. going from a nice landscape to a gruesome crime scene. This is an 1874 newspaper print from the Tokyo Nichi-Nichi Shimbun. These prints were included as an insert in the newspaper. They reported sensational true news of the day. And this news is about a policeman who killed 3 Yatori women in Yangyujo and then tried to kill himself but was arrested. The print is by Yoshiiku. All of Yoshiiku's prints in this series have these cherubs holding the banner at the top. We can see this next print has been damaged by the sun and it's been backed. It's a diptych by Toyokuni III, also known as Kunisada. Let's piece this together. We see the kabuki actors Nakamura Shikan IV and Sawamura Tanosuke III in the play Kinoe Soga Daikoku Bashira. This play was staged at the Moritaza Theater in the second month of 1864. Behind the 2 actors is a huge goblin spider, and that's the reason I bought this print. During the daytime they look just like common spiders, but late at night when everybody is asleep and there's no sound, they become giant size and do awful things. Goblin spiders are also supposed to have the magical power of taking human shape. Next, we have a print I've been waiting for. It's by Yoshitoshi and called The Navy Lands at Tsukuchi Village from 1877. It represents one panel of a triptych. This event happened during the Satsuma Rebellion. What happened was the ruling Meiji government decided to have a modern Western-style army and to stop supporting the samurai class. The samurai rebelled and it became a civil war. This battle shows a nighttime landing of naval forces in Kagoshima. The government troops in their uniform are arriving on boats to fight with the samurai rebels. So that's exciting enough. But look here, in my collection I have the other 2 pieces of the same print that I bought a couple of years ago. So here for the first time, let's see how these panels match up. And look at that, isn't that awesome? The color and print quality of the left panel and my 2 panels is almost the same. Now we can see the full battle scene. We can see the samurai with their swords rushing into the water, the cannons on the hill behind firing. The Imperial Army won, of course, and I read that 4,000 people on each side died during this battle. It's great to finally have the full Yoshitoshi triptych, and so satisfying to see how closely they match after 144 years. So for those of you with missing triptych panels, don't give up hope. Your missing panels are out there somewhere. This next print has been backed. Let's see the front. This is nice. It's from an interesting 1880 series by Kunichika of a series of actors being reflected in their dressing room mirrors. Here we see kabuki actor Otani Shiro in a kimono smoking a pipe while getting ready for his part in the play. It's a behind-the-scenes peek at some of the famous actors of the day. The next print is also by Kunichika from a series of 6 actor prints. It's called Night Breeze Thief, and it shows the thief Inaba Kobo Shinsuke, played by Nakamura Shikan VIII. I'm afraid I don't know much more about this one, but I like the blue kimono, his crazed look, and the 2 white herons flying in the background. And on to the next one. Here's another print by Yoshitoshi from his famous 1886 series, 100 Aspects of the Moon. This is Theater District Dawn Moon. It shows dawn in Shibai-machi, the theater district in Edo. The focus is this young woman in the light blue kimono with red lining going home at dawn. In the background, we can see the silhouettes of other people either wandering home or starting their day. It's simple but quite lovely. Now here's a gorgeous print from the series Mirror of Flowering Manners and Customs by Kunichika. This series tries to capture how people's feelings changed after the 1868's Meiji Restoration. In this print, Kunichika tells a humorous story of a wizard who fell to earth and works as the manager of a female public bath. This series was done in 1878, and it really is one of his finest series. The detail, color, and quality of the printing is amazing. It's interesting to compare it side by side with Yoshitoshi's moon print. Both artists are masters in their own right, but we can see how differently they depict beautiful women of the day. Yoshitoshi's image is much more simple and two-dimensional, while Kunichika's geisha is almost 3D, with the detail and shading of the kimono plus the overlapping foreground and background elements. Here's another print from the series 36 Famous Tokyo Restaurants that pairs famous geisha with famous restaurants. This shows the Hirase restaurant in Fukagawa with the geisha of Nihonbashi. This was a famous restaurant that opened in 1804 and closed in 1899. I read that in Edo Shigemasaki, published in 1832, the restaurant was praised for having a good storefront and tableware, and the food was excellent. One thing I like about this series is the contrast between the bright red pattern at the top of the background and this monochrome section at the bottom that's in the style of Chinese ink painting. Next, we have an unusual restaurant print. We saw this series earlier. It's 36 Modern Tokyo Restaurants by Kunichika, and it's called Riding in a Rickshaw. We see this couple, nicely dressed, most probably on their way to the restaurant. I like the shadows being cast on the bridge and the rickshaw driver's leg as he runs. In the background, on the water, you can see a pleasure boat arriving at the restaurant with tiny figures waiting on the veranda. This is really a fun series to collect, and I almost have them all. In fact, if you can find this print, it's the only one I need to complete my collection. So keep an eye out, please. This next print is also by Kunichika. It's actor Sawamura Tosho II as a samurai from the series 32 Mirrors of Good and Evil from 1867. I don't know much about this series, but once again I was attracted by the strong pose, the cross-eyed stare, and the beautifully designed kimono. Oh yes, and this is a great print to finish on. So the print we saw just before this was 32 Mirrors of Good and Evil, and this is from the series Mirror of Demonic People, Good and Evil. I'm guessing the first series was a success, so Kunichika followed it up with a similarly themed one. In any case, this is one of my favorite images. We see the kabuki actor Nakamura Shikan IV in the role of Yamanaka Totaro. He's standing in this dynamic twisted pose, and these thick horizontal lines indicate bullets whizzing by him. Once you see this print, you won't forget it. And that's all the prints we have for this unboxing. I hope you enjoyed opening them up with me. Check out the website to see what's available, and happy collecting.